I was just reflecting on the fact that you've had a number of successful careers, and yet you left school without qualifications, didn't you? So how do you view the importance of A-level results?
I think it depends on what your hopes and aspirations are. If you want to be a doctor, then it's absolutely necessary to become qualified. I think it's important to have risk takers. And I don't know if all business owners recognise the fact they are, by default, entrepreneurs. And they are risks that they take. They're huge risks. But on the flip side of that, I don't think everyone going to university necessarily realises that they are too, in the way that you probably would if you started a new business. They are taking on debt and they are taking a risk, especially in an age when a lot of entry-level jobs are disappearing because of AI. And as we move forward with that into uncharted territory, I think something like entrepreneurship is really important to showcase as a viable career option, given the amount of ideas there are amongst the brilliant young people that have them.
Yeah, and there seem to be so many people who are showing a real interest in business, aren't they? If you just look at the results, there are more people taking vocational T levels. We're also seeing some of the subjects being chosen, like business studies and economics, rising, and traditional subjects like history, for example, becoming less popular. I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think there is this rise in interest in becoming a businessman or an entrepreneur?
I think that a lot of it may stem from, especially from more disadvantaged backgrounds, because it can be seen as a strategy or used as a strategy to create some social mobility, which is suffering, is ever on the decline. And so I think people are probably realising that history may not be as useful for them as something like understanding how to set up, start and, you know, hopefully run a successful business. It's why I started working with Simply Business to really highlight the Young Entrepreneurship Fund.
Yeah, and that's all about giving grants to people, isn't it? To give them a bit of a kickstart.
Definitely, yeah. But you know, they have to have an idea, and they have to have proof of concept and proof of demand, or proof of a gaping hole that they can fill. And it's not just about the money that they'll receive if they win a grant by way of their brilliant ideas. It's also about the mentorship that they'll receive, which I would argue is the more important part, because anyone can spend money, but once it's gone, it's gone. Money's very easy to spend, especially when starting a business. But I think the mentorship will prove the most important part of that.
And we were saying that more and more young people are getting into side hustles. I mean, is that something that you do? Because you've...
I didn't know I had a side hustle. I was working at, I got an apprenticeship, thank you, Michael Vu, at Select Typesetters, and was working as a desktop publisher. I was doing some other things on the side, which were potentially, I would frown upon now. And I was also making music, going to every gig that I could, going to every open mic night. And, you know, I didn't know what was the side hustle at that point. I was just doing everything I could to move forwards. And I mean, music has been the catalyst for everything that I've done, but whether it's been, you know, documentaries, which I've been, you know, fortunate enough to find myself able to make around issues that I really care about, or it's been all, you know, the work I've done around men's mental health and having that conversation and opening the floor to that conversation all those years ago. I feel very fortunate to have been able to stumble into all the things that I have.
We're going to leave it there. Stephen Manderson, really interesting to talk to you this morning. Thanks
Cheers.
so much for coming in and chatting to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.